Hey y'all, I'm going to talk about the levels of the lymph nodes. So first of all, we're going to talk about landmarks of the neck. So that will make it easy to just go through the levels of the lymph nodes. So first of all, the neck landmarks. Here is the hyoid bone, external jugular vein. So I could say here, thyroid cartilage, and cricoid cartilage, which is underneath the thyroid, jugular notch or sternum notch, clavicle, subclavian artery, trapezius muscle, thyroid gland, and sternocleidomastoid muscle. Okay, so with that being said, here's that I wanted to illustrate the carotid bifurcation here. So here where just the carotid goes and then bifurcates. Here's the internal jugular vein. Here's the internal jugular vein irrespective to the internal carotid artery, which is lies medial to the internal jugular vein, which is lateral to the carotid artery. All right. Here's as well the internal carotid, external jugular vein, and internal jugular vein. Here's another internal, external, and the carotid artery bifurcation, which lies right here. Okay, this is the common carotid artery and the external and internal. Okay. This is the digastric muscle. This is digastric, and this is as well too on the neck. This is the anterior pelvis of the digastric. This is the posterior pelvis of digastric. This is the cricoid and thyroid. So this is the thyroid and cricoid cartilages. Okay, with that being said, let's just move or run through the levels of the lymph nodes. So first of all, we have the level 1, which lies centrally or underneath directly off the mandible. So it's subdivided to 1A and 1P. 1A is called submental, and 1P called submandibular. Okay. So let's move through the boundaries of both of them. So here's the level A submental group between two anterior digastric muscles and the hyoid bones. So this is the submental. It lies between two anterior digastric muscle, pelvis of the muscle. Okay. And superiorly the mandible, right? And the inferior going to be the hyoid bone. This is the hyoid bone. Inferior to the hyoid. And oh my god, what happens? Inferior to just the submental. Alright, so the two anterior digastric muscles, this is on each side, anterior pelvis, okay. and the hyoid bone inferiorly. Okay. Then the mandible superior. This is called level 1A or submental group. Okay. Level 1P or submandibular group, which is this level, as you can see here. Laterally going to be anterior pelvic digastric muscle. So let me just clean these up. Oh my goodness, what just happened? Okay, just let me fix these. Okay, so laterally anterior pelvic digastric muscle. This is laterally. And inferiorly going to be posterior pelvic digastric muscles. So this is the posterior, which is inferiorly. The posterior pelvic digastric muscle. So this is the anterior. So let me take another color. So anterior and posterior, which makes the boundaries of the 1P or submandibular. And for sure, the roof going to be the body of the mandible. This is all the body of the mandible. So, the 1P, which is also called the submandibular group, is bounded by anterior pelvis of the digastric muscle and posterior pelvis digastric muscle inferiorly, and on the roof going to be the body of the mandible. And we noticed that both the 1A and 1P, both of them, I guess no. So I'll go here. I'm sorry for this, but this will make it okay, this would be better. So both of the 1A and 1P located centrally. Okay? Centrally. So, but here's going to be more centrally is the submandibular. Okay? And the 1B going to be a little bit lateral, which is called the submandibular, but both of them are located centrally, as you can see here. Okay, so this is the submandibular. This is the anterior pelvis of the digastric, posterior pelvis of the digastric, and the hyoid bone, and yeah, that's all. So let's revise this. The submental group to anterior digastric muscle and the hyoid bone. So the hyoid bone inferiorly, and the digastric muscles going to be between or laterally. Superior going to be the mandible, the submandibular group. Laterally is going to be the anterior pelvis digastric muscles, and inferiorly posterior pelvis digastric muscle, and superior body of the mandible. Okay, so notice the difference here, that the inferiorly going to be here in the submandibular post-pelvic digastric muscle, but here on the submental going to be the hyoid bone, just as you notice here. So here's the hyoid bone, which is makes the floor of the submental group, and the submandibular going to be the floor for is the posterior pelvis of digastric muscle. Okay, now we're getting to the lateral neck, which is consistent of 2, 3, 4, 5. As you can see here, this is 2P, 2A, which is all 2, 3, 4, and 5. All of these are called the lateral neck because they are all located on the lateral or laterally to the neck. So that's why we would call it like lateral neck. Okay, makes sense. We're gonna take the 2A and 2P, which is also called the upper jugular group, because it is located upper part of the jugular vein. I think so. It's external jugular vein, but I'm not sure. Maybe the internal jugular, but the most important thing that you know, it's jugular vein, upper part of the jugular vein. So, the superior going to be the base of the skull, the inferior the hyoid bone, separated by the spinal accessory nerve, which separates the 2A from the 2P. Okay, this is the spinal accessory nerve, which separates between 2A and 2P. Okay, so this is the 2A more anteriorly, more into the center, and 2P more into the posterior side of the neck. Okay, alright, this is about the level 2. We noticed that level 1 and 2 have subdivides of the levels A and P, right? Alright, so the level 3, which is the middle jugular group, here at the jugular vein, the number 3 is the middle jugular group because it is located on the middle part of the jugular vein. Superior going to be composed of the hyoid bone, and inferiorly going to be the coracoid cartilage. So this is the level 3. Here's the hyoid bone superiorly, and inferiorly going to be the coracoid cartilage, which is this one. This is the thyroid cartilage, and this is the coracoid cartilage. And it's called the middle jugular group. Right? Because it's located in the middle of the jugular vein. Superiorly going to be the hyoid bone, and inferiorly going to be the coracoid cartilage. We don't have subdivides of the level 3, which makes it so unique. By the way, I'll just look at this line that I've drawn, like goes from 1 to 2 to 3, 4, then 5, then goes to 6 and 7. This is the pattern that it goes on the neck. Just here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and lastly the 7. That makes me remember how it goes, and it makes it easier to memorize. Okay, what else? Let's move on to the level 4, which is the lower jugular group, because it is located on the inferior part of the jugular vein. It doesn't have subdivides, so it's so easy to us to memorize this group. So superior coracoid cartilage and inferior clavicle, as you can see here. Okay, then number 5, it consists of 2 divides, VA and VP, or 5A or 5B, posterior triangle group. This is the posterior triangle group. 5A and 5B. 5A more superior than 5B. So, inferiorly going to be the clavicle, and anteriorly going to be the sternocleidomastoid muscle, or medially. I'm sorry for these things that are... Okay, this is the muscle, sternocleidomastoid muscle. It's It's going to be located anteriorly or medially to this to this group or these lymph nodes. And posteriorly going to be, or laterally, the trapezius muscle. Here, the trapezius muscle. Just let me check out this spelling. Trapezius muscle. Sorry. Okay, the one that you see here. The VA and VB separated by the accessory nerve, cranial nerve, not the spinal one. The spinal one was separating the level 2, right? But the level 5 is separated by the nerve, the cranial nerve, not the spinal nerve, the cranial nerve number 11, which is the accessory nerve. But when it gets to the level 2, it's separated by the spinal nerve, number 11. So that makes sense. Okay? So, just there's a little note that has been made by a friend of mine. She was so cute. Okay, above and below. Above is the VA, and below the accessory nerve, cranial nerve, number 11 is the VP. And all of these called the posterior triangle group. Let me just erase all of these mess. Okay. The last group, which doesn't have any subdivides, it is the anterior or central compartment group, or number 6, which as you can see here. Central compartment, superiorly the hyoid bone, and inferiorly the clavicle, or the suprasternal notch. Okay? The lateral boundaries are the carotid sheath, or common carotid artery, here and there. Okay? Alright, so superiorly the hyoid bone, inferiorly the suprasternal notch, and laterally on each side is the common carotid arteries, or the carotid sheath. Okay, so with that being said, these are the levels of the lymph nodes that are located on the neck. We're gonna take more examples of it here. Okay, this is so good. As you can see here, this is the group 1A and group 1B, which is all located centrally, and all below the mandible. So 1A below is going to be the hyoid bone, and above going to be the mandible, but it was like something like oh gosh, I just forgot it. Just don't remember. Here's the submental, superior the mandible. Okay, the mandible. Let me say just the mandible. So here's the mandible. Superiorly, and inferiorly going to be the hyoid bone. On each side going to be the anterior pelvis of the digastric muscle, which is 2 muscles, one here and one there. All are the anterior pelvis. The 1P, inferiorly going to be the posterior pelvis of the digastric, and here's going to be superiorly the body of the or the ramus, or the body of the mandible, all are the same. This is the medial part or anterior part, which is going to be the anterior pelvis. So the inferior part going to be the posterior, but when it gets to medial or anterior, going to be the anterior pelvis of the digastric. All right. Let me just erase all of these. Okay, here is number two, which is here. It's subdivides as well to A and P. And it's called upper jugular group because it's located above or upper part of the jugular internal jugular vein, right? Number A for sure is going to be more anteriorly than number 2P. But let's discuss the boundaries of them collectively. The 1A and 2A and 2P all are bounded inferiorly by the hyoid bone and superiorly by the, I think said the ramus of the mandible. I'm not sure. Let me just check. Here's the part of the mandible. Oh, here, I'm sorry. Superiorly the base of the skull. Okay, the base of the skull, not the mandible. So, the base of the skull here, just superior boundary to the two level lymph nodes. Anteriorly going to be like the posterior digastric belly, and posteriorly going to be the I don't know, but these are the most important things, the boundaries that you gotta know. Alright, this is the number 3, which is the number 3 or level 3 lymph nodes of the neck, the middle part of the jugular, internal jugular for sure. Here's superior going to be the hyoid bone, and medially or anteriorly going to be the, I think so, the cricoid cartilage or the thyroid. Just let me check. Number 3, the middle, superior the hyoid, and inferiorly going to be the cricoid, and anteriorly going to be the thyroid cartilage. Okay, so this is the thyroid, this is the cricoid cartilage. Anteriorly going to be the cricoid cartilage, superiorly the hyoid, and inferiorly going to be at the level of the cricoid. Anteriorly going to be the thyroid cartilage, and posteriorly going to be the posterior head of the sternocleidomastoid muscle. Here's the same as well. It's going to be the, I think so, the posterior head of the sternocleidomastoid muscle. Here's the we've done from number 2, which doesn't have subdivides. Number 4, it doesn't have. Okay, so but this is like super detailed photo, which I really like, but just one divide, which is 4. It is located in the lower part of the jugular. Okay, and just like the superior going to be the cricoid cartilage, inferior going to be the clavicle, and posterior I think so it's going to be the posterior head of the sternocleidomastoid, and anterior going to be the trachea. Yeah, that's it. This is number 4. When it gets to number 5, here's number 5, which is posteriorly at the posterior triangle, anteriorly going to be the posterior head of the sternocleidomastoid, and inferiorly going to be the clavicle, and and superiorly going to be as well the base of the skull. This is the 5. It doesn't have subdivides, but I don't know, this picture just okay, what about the number level 7? Level 6, I'm sorry. Here's the central part, or the central compartment. It's bounded and superiorly by the hyoid bone, and inferiorly by the suprasternal notch, and posteriorly by the anterior head of the sternocleidomastoid muscle. Yeah, and on the lateral side, it has the carotid artery or the carotid sheath. So these are the most important levels of the lymph nodes that you should be familiar with. So to recap, this is a level of just 1A, 1P. This is the 2, 3, and 4, 5A, and 5B. Okay, remember 5 it does have subdivides A and P, I'm sorry, and it's separated by the cranial nerve number 11 or accessory nerve. It is not at the spinal because the spinal here and here's the cranial nerve. It's separated by this nerve or omohyoid muscle, and the superiorly going to be A and inferiorly going to be P. Alright? Okay, that makes sense. So this is the one. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5A and 5B, and 6. We noticed that the levels that have subdivides are 1, 2, right? Here's A and P, and 5. That all the levels that have subdivides 1A, 1P, 2A, 2P, and 5A and 5B. Here is separated by the spinal accessory nerve. Here is separated by the cranial accessory nerve, cranial nerve number 11. And yeah, that's it. Right? Yeah, that's all. Here is just 1A, 1. Yeah, I remember that. Here is just the lateral neck are number 2, number 3, and number 4, and number 5, because they are located on the lateral of the neck. Lateral of the neck. So they are called lateral neck groups or lateral lymph nodes. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Except maybe except the one level 1 and level 6. Alright? So basically the lateral neck are composed of all the lymph or the level of the lymph nodes unless number 1 and 6. The rest are going to be on the lateral neck. This is again 1A, 1P, 2A, 2P, 3, 4, 5A, 5P, and 6. Yeah, that's all. And thank you for the watching. Hopefully you enjoyed it and benefited from. Thank you, that's it.